Hi everybody, welcome back. Following on from last week's video about death, I want to talk this week about celebrating life. This is something that obviously has come to my mind whilst dealing with all this death issue, and particularly when we put together my brother's memorial service, which was an absolutely beautiful event, culminating in a wonderful time sharing stories and drinking a lot in a pub in Cornwall. And the reason that I've been thinking about celebrating life is because we really did try and frame this as a celebration of his life, and it was beautiful. It had speeches from different people from different moments of his life. It was a humanistic service, so not at all religious, but even if it is a religious service, it's the same kind of situation. We're celebrating someone's life. But the question to me is, why do we only do that at a funeral? And the second question would be, why do we only get together all of our friends and family and everybody who we love, either at a wedding or at a funeral? We don't tend to get them together, or we don't feel the importance of an event that isn't one of those two. And so we tend not to go, or not to feel like we need to turn up to them. And this is something that makes me think about, how can we celebrate life in big ways? So wouldn't it be nice if instead of just having wedding and funeral, you could also pick a couple of times in your life where you're like, no, this is my celebration of life party. I'm going to have two in my life. I'm not getting married, and I'm not that bothered about you going to my funeral because I'm not going to be there. But I want you to come to my celebration of life party. And this made me think a little bit about my grandparents. So my grandparents, Betty and Frank, they always used to hold these big parties, and they'd hold parties for all of the big birthdays and all of their big wedding anniversaries as well, which meant that, you know, at least once a year, well, more or less once a year, maybe it's probably once every 3 years, I'm not sure, there's probably a mathematician who can tell me that correctly, but there would be a big party where family, friends, we'd all get together, they would pay for it. They were not rich people, and they spent some time saving and planning for this because it was something that was important to them. And of course there would be speeches, and there would be singing, and there would be dancing, and there'd be lots of nice food and things like that. But they organised that. They saw the importance of celebrating their own lives, and they put that together. And I think something's changed generationally, because for me, when it was my 40th birthday, it was really difficult for me to put together my birthday party. And I was dealing with, you know, ideas that people wouldn't come, and that maybe they wouldn't want to. And, you know, shall I really do this? And there's this question around organising a party for ourselves when really there shouldn't be. So my invitation to you is to organise or think about when you want your life celebration party to take place. It doesn't have to be a big birthday. It could be just any birthday or any reason, or even just calling it a life celebration party. But it would be nice to do that, right? But I think we've lost the tradition. The other thing that I think is important for celebrating life is to celebrate the small things. So you might have been thinking, oh, you know, I don't really want to spend thousands of pounds, euros, dollars on a party. I can't afford to do it. And also with the pandemic and all of this, it's really difficult to be sure that people can come, all the rest of it. Okay, fair enough. But how can you celebrate life in a smaller way? And this is something that comes to me a little bit as a mum of two, and trying to have a company and doing all the social media stuff and finding life quite difficult, quite busy. I don't often make space for doing the things that I love doing. And sometimes I don't even realise what those things are. The little pleasures, the very little ones. Yesterday I took my son to the swimming pool, just a normal part of his every week he goes to the swimming pool, and I was waiting for him to come out, and I went into the cafe that's just next to the gym where he goes and ordered a cup of tea, a cup of rooibos with vanilla tea, which is a really different thing for me to order. And so I sat down and started drinking, and I was like, ooh, this is really nice. I had a bit of a sore throat, as you can hear a little bit from my voice. this is a really, really nice tea. I'm going to remember this, that this is nice to sit here with a book and with tea and have a little bit of a break while my son's in the swimming pool, instead of sitting there trying to answer emails badly when I could do it better when I got home afterwards and I'm not doing something else at the same time. And this is a little bit of giving myself that space, that little celebration. And it's a silly example. There are better examples of this. There are people who have time to go kayaking or sailing or climb mountains. And if that's what you love, finding the time to do that is also a celebration of your life, you celebrating your life, you enjoying it as much as possible. And this is different from the idea of carpe diem. It's not that I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and do whatever I want. No, I'm living my responsible life. I've got a decent job, I've got my kids, or whatever your responsibilities are. And I'm identifying some key nice things that I do every day as a celebration of my own life. So, 2 kind of key ideas to celebrate your life while you're alive that I hope you can take on board and start thinking, first of all, when you're going to plan that big life celebration where people are really going to say what they love about you and what they think about you, and it could all be nice and organized or whatever, or maybe it's not, maybe it's just sharing stories in a pub. And then also this idea of these small celebrations of life for you on your own and how you can incorporate them into your daily life. Bye for now.